Hello and welcome to the Tool Assisted Podcast. This is your host 8-Bit and it's the 4th of January 2020. Today I'm talking to the legendary Tompa. How are you today, Tompa?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening, or good morning, I guess, for your
Yep.
sake.
So tell us a bit about yourself. How'd you get into, gaming, speedrunning, and then TASing?
Oh, gaming. I'm 30 years old, and I got three older brothers. And in 1993, I think it was, my brother bought a SNES and a TV. And he bought A Link to the Past and Super Mario All Stars. And I wasn't too old at that time, but I was watching my brothers play all the time. And then I just started playing on my own as well. That's my first interactive with gaming, I suppose. Then I played more and more. I played my cousin's Game Boy with Link's Awakening. And that's probably the game I've been playing the most in my life. And for some reason, in 2003, I think it was, I was curious to see how fast I could beat the game. I didn't know anything about speedrunning or anything, so I just played my regular game, and I got an hour, a time of 1 hour and 52 minutes. And a year later, I find speedrunning at STA and Twin Galaxies, and the record at the time was 2 hours and 7 minutes. So my run was 50 minutes faster without me even knowing.
Nice.
So that's when I started speedrunning, I suppose. I started to look for everything.
Oh, cool. So you grew up mainly with SNES. Did you have Mario Brothers 3 as well? Because I noticed you test that.
Yeah, but for the SNES, I never played the NES as a kid.
Oh, yeah, because they had All-Stars, didn't they?
Yeah,
Oh,
so that's when I played the most.
Wow, so very, very early adopter of speedrunning. Because, if you're talking about Twin Galaxies, that's pretty long ago.
Well, it's still relevant in its own way, but yeah, it's not for speedrunning, really.
So, yeah, you did a bit of that first. How'd you find out about tool-assisted speedrunning?
Well, the first speedrun I found, for most people, was the Super Mario 3 task by Morimoto.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't know it was a task at the time, no one did. So when I started searching for speedruns, I eventually found SDA, I found Twin Galaxies, and I found task videos, or NES videos, as they were called back then. So I kind of went back and forth for a while. I was watching I was watching a bunch of tasks, but I didn't understand them at all. I was one of those guys. Oh, this is cheating, etc. But I did one run for SDA, but I didn't have any good recording equipment, and the quality we needed was too high for me to manage. Pretty much, I didn't have the money to buy anything. So I started tasking instead. That's you didn't need any equipment really for it.
You're in Sweden as well. Is that a PAL region?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So have you had difficulty, I guess, in RTA trying to get NTSC equipment?
Well, at first, I didn't know about the PAL and NTSC difference at all. I think I learned that from STA, possibly, on the forums. And it's when you grow up with the games, your PAL as well. It's you don't, this is all you have. You don't have anything to compare it to. And some games have been sped up in PAL, so you can't always see the difference either. So, but I bought an American SNES to play Donkey Kong Country runs with, and it was no problem then. But you have to upgrade your stuff.
Yeah, when I bought my American SNES, I had a lot of difficulty getting the power working, so it's good that it was a bit smoother for you. Maybe the chords are a bit more similar, I'd say.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It's a TV signal that can be a problem, I suppose. All TVs don't support NTSC 60 hertz, so...
Yeah, that's the issue. I think PAL TVs are a bit better at supporting NTSC, but NTSC TVs are really, really bad at supporting PAL.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know the Banjo runners had a lot of issues with that when that went to PAL as well. So,
yeah. I was running Zelda Wonder Gambler for the CDI at the GameStop Quick bonus run, 2015, I think. And my system was a PAL system, and they didn't have anything that could support it.
Oh, wow.
So we eventually found a monitor that it worked on, but it took a while to set it up. So yeah, they didn't like me for that, I suppose.
Is it an optimal speed on PAL?
They have done some tests on the games on CDI, but I don't think there's any difference. It feels the same.
Well, I guess by that point, they were probably a bit better at, making sure they compensate for the frame rate.
Well, that game was released in 1993, So no, it was terrible in that comparison, to be honest. But yeah.
So how'd you end up running CDI Zelda? It's very obscure.
Well, mostly because like everyone hates the games, and I did it as a meme in the first time. So there was like one run on YouTube that I wanted to beat, and I eventually beat it in a random practice run. Not practice for the marathon. But then I got stuck running the games because like they're pretty bad for speedrunning wise. They have no tricks really. They have no glitches at all found that they're useful. They're pretty slow paced, but they're kind of fun and challenging. So I like doing them. Like doing them anyway.
No glitches found yet.
Yeah, not yet. There's a wrong warp actually I found a while back, but it has no uses.
Ah, dang. So your first has submitted Maui Mallard in Cold Shadows.
Oh yeah.
How did this happen?
It's a game I grew up with. Almost all games I speedrun or make a test of, I played as a child. Like I grew up with playing games, and so this was it's a pretty easy game to test. It's a simple platformer, and for my first like serious project, I needed something pretty simple to start off with. As I mentioned briefly, I started with Super Star Wars, but it's very hard to start with tests. So I was playing slow motion. I didn't know the tools or anything, or how to optimize. And the Marmalade was really quite simple to do. So that was a fun little project. So that was submitted on my 18th birthday.
Wow.
2007. And I've been doing some tests since.
Okay. Yeah, it looks actually pretty full on for a TAS. Not only your first TAS, but a TAS in 2007 as well. Yeah.
I always had pretty like high standards for what I'm doing. I try to be perfect as far as I can all the time. One thing I keep telling you TAS is like, never think that anything you do is perfect. Like, keep improving, keep testing random things. It isn't perfect. Like, it's the best you can do so far, but it's not perfect yet. So keep trying.
Exactly. And that's something that I enjoy from your runs a lot, is that just the standards of optimization are so high on them.
Yeah, like I was testing Link to the Past a while back, and I was like maybe 15 minutes into the run, I'm not sure. But I found one frame to improve early on. And like, it's one thing when you think that, oh, this could probably be improvable. But when you know that something, this is not optimal, I hate that so much. So I had to redo the run to save that frame.
Oh, yeah.
And the good thing when you redo a run, like, you keep finding new stuff as well. So I ended up saving a lot more.
Is Link to the Past sync friendly?
One frame only. Well?
Is it sync friendly? Can you just like use the same inputs?
No. So I redid it all.
Dang.
And for my biggest project, I suppose, was Donkey Kong Country 101%, which took me 10 years to beat. And one of these is what I kept redoing all the time. Me and On the Great found new things all the time to that you couldn't edit anything, you couldn't had to redo for the start. So I did like 10 times, but so it was worth it.
How did it end up taking 10 years to do Donkey Kong Country?
Well, the plan was to do it together with Arn, but he lost interest, so I was doing it alone, and that took slow down the pace a little bit at first. And as I said, I found new things all the time. I had to redo from the start. And there was a big glitch found in a level in World 4, level 4, Cross Chase. That was really too difficult for me to test. I couldn't do it. And I still didn't do it. I had Alyosha, can't pronounce his name. But he helped me to finish it eventually. For that level alone. Because you need to use a camera hack of some sorts to test. And I couldn't get it to work. It was too... I don't know the word for it, but it was too impractical for me to use.
So is it just a matter of you not being able to see what you're doing without the camera hack?
There's so many small factors. Like in the level, there are a lot of like different enemies. And when you play the game normally without the camera hack, you quickly run past all enemies. But they're still on screen without the camera hack, so they can cause the game to lag. And if you are using the camera hack, all the enemies are spawned. So you have to dodge them, even though you can technically run into them because they're not spawned outside the camera. And it's such a hard level to task as well, even without the camera hack. It's like I just gave up multiple times. I had put the run on hold for years, pretty much. So that's one of the reasons it took so long to finish. But I'm so incredibly satisfied with the run. It's my one masterpiece, I think, among my passes.
Yeah, definitely, and it's so impressive. I was having another watch through it last night, and just Donkey Kong Country amazes me because there's so much going on, so many crazy glitches, but in just a seemingly normal platformer.
Yeah, there's some of the small things like subpixel manipulation and optimization to maybe save a frame. Most of the time you don't, but you have to try. There was one time when you can grab ropes at a time, and then you have to wait. And while on the rope, you can optimize the subpixels to be as high as possible. The highest value being 255. And I got 254, and I thought, oh wait, this is good enough. Who cares? But that one subpixel ended up losing one frame in the end, and that's so rare for it to happen. So like, never go for imperfection. If you can do better, do better.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people could learn from as well. In that, you just got to keep trying until you save the frames. Yeah. And I guess that's probably because you were a judge on Taz videos at one time, weren't you? Yeah,
I was. And like, for some runs, especially for newcomers, they often like make a room or kill an enemy in one way. They look at it, oh, this looks good, and they don't try to kill it in a different way. They just do one method. And when they use the test, you can see like, oh wait, did they really try this strat? Because I think this is going to be faster. And then you can try it, and you saved 10 seconds or whatever. For some runs, I don't think I'd judged that one, but it was a run of was it Medical Quest 2, I think, starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Luck. I'm not sure. Anyway, I was watching the first level and saw like this can be improved. So I just hooked up the emulator, tested for 5 minutes, and beat it the first level. And like, when you can beat it that quickly, then you know that not enough effort was put into this task. Like, probably everything else in the game is also suboptimal. So for such tasks, like, you can reject pretty much instantly, in my opinion. Because you shouldn't be able to tell in real time that the run is improvable. Then I think it's a failed task.
Yeah. I mean, people aren't going to save every single frame possible, especially if they're new, but definitely at a macro level, you should be doing that. And mostly at a micro level.
Yeah. When I was testing a Bubble many years back, we were like 15 people testing it. We tried to get as many as possible. But I kept like testing backwards because, like, say they finished level 30, but I was still working on level 20 because you can save one frame more here. It kept having to go back all the time, and people hated me for it. And that's pretty much when the save the frames meme started.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to save the frames all the time. And that name has spread, like, oh, hi, Cat. And that name has spread since. Because of Bubble. So, like, the Save the Frames Foundation also came from me. From Awesome Games Done Quick to, well, I think it was.
Save the Frames Foundation?
Yeah, it was. You know, my first Game Done Quick, I had Link's Awakening submitted against Rock the Seasons. I was going to run Seasons, and Tigger was running Awakening. But Mike Oyama felt that, he's come all the way from Sweden, he has to do a run. So he like brought me up to the camera and said, like, this is Tompa, he's from Save the Frames Foundation. And he needs to be in, pretty much, so make a donation towards him.
Nice.
And people did, eventually. So I did my run. It was good fun.
Yeah, you've done quite a bit of stuff at GDQ. Do you find it difficult to actually make it over there?
Not difficult per se, but like it takes so long to travel. It's quite expensive for everything. And like with the ESA in Sweden, it's much more closer to go to, less inconvenient for me to travel to. And I think that Game Technique has become like too big for me. The first time we said it was in 2012, I said, and we were like 80 people, I think. And you get to talk to everyone. You get to like know the names and everything. Now they're like 1,500. Like you don't know anyone.
Mm.
It's getting too big for my taste to handle. It's still like a lot of fun though, of course, but I like them small.
Yeah, definitely in some sense. It's good for the speedrunning community to get more exposure, but it's not something that appeals to me going to it as much as it used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another reason I like to go to ESA more, is that they are still fairly small in comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, a lot closer to travel to.
Yeah, I like ESA. It sort of popped up and got really big, but small enough still. Yeah. Yeah, we got a similar one in Australia, which is pretty good as well.
Yeah, I saw that. It's nice.
Do you find that with Donkey Kong Country, learning to Taz it made your RTA runs better?
Oh yeah, like with all Tazing, if you're good at running the game and then you Taz it, you become better at running the game. I think that's a certain for all the games. Because when Tazing, you learn so much about how the game works and why. You learn like, for many tricks you can RTA, you can find out like, oh, you have to do it like something like this and this works. But it may not be the correct method of doing it per se. But with Tazing you can find out like, oh, doing this saves 2 frames compared to the RTA method. But you will never know that before Tazing the game. And a lot of tricks like find out when Tazing as well, because they're frame perfect, or you can watch the code or ROM watch or whatever to learn like the mechanics behind it. So yeah, I think Tazing DKC made me a lot better at running the game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, and I think RTA can make you better at Tazing too, because you might find some weird glitches that just don't happen if you're always doing things optimally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of annoys me in one way when the Tazer, the RTA runner has not watched the best Taz. Like, of course the Taz isn't perfect in every way, and like all strategies can't be used in RTA, but it's still a good guideline. And for like the DKC, I've been trying to have people watch the Tazes for years, and they say, "Oh, I just found this old trick," and then I link the Taz from 2007. Oh yeah, he already did it here. What's the history? Learn from it instead of inventing the wheel again.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of stuff again in Banjo like that where people will think they found a strat. It was in the Taz.
I think like people are, for DKC for example, there's a trick where you can instantly keep rolling all the time. Normally have to jump between the rolls to keep on going, and that can't really be done RTA. And because of that rolling, like they ignore the entire task because they can't compare it properly and they don't know what's task only or RTA viable. But they can just ask me, like, I'm around, I can help out.
Yeah, definitely.
And they have it as well. So.
And I think people are understanding Tazing a little bit better now, so they will actually ask the Tazer.
Yeah. Like back when I started, there was still a big rivalry between the Taz community and the RTA community. And people still don't like understand what a Taz is, how they're done. It's just a bot playing the game or whatever. It's cheat codes. But it isn't. Like there's so much effort that goes into Tazing the game they do not think about.
Yeah, I get a bit riled up when people think there's just like a button you can press and it makes a Taz.
I've had a hobby for since 2007, I think, 8, where I've been replaying the YouTube comments on speedruns and Tazes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do it every day.
Yeah.
Mostly it's like, oh, he's cheating. Look, he touched the piranha plant or whatever. But I don't care if they're trolling or not. I like to reply to them. And if I can convince like one person about the task form, like the speed on this, or how a trick is done or whatever, like that makes me happy.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm just having fun.
Yeah, it's worth it. I'll do that like only on my own videos, but I will reply if somebody asks what a Taz is or something. Yeah. I mean, that's probably one of the main reasons I started the podcast as well, just to make more awareness of what actually goes into making a Taz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Was it one of your runs, and I couldn't find it, must have been in a marathon or something, were you talking about spending like 2 weeks saving one frame in Link to the Past?
Oh, yeah. There was a room with... all enemies spawn in the same spot all the time, but they move different paths. And a common way to manipulate enemies is to lose a frame. But it's not always necessary. And I knew that it wasn't necessary for this room to lose that 1 frame. So what you have to do is to redo the previous rooms to change R&D. And I kept doing that all the time because I knew that this frame can be saved. And I didn't test daily for 2 weeks, but I postponed the run for 2 weeks while I was trying to improve it. And I eventually did. And it made me so happy. Like I was screaming out, like, yes! When I got it. It was so great. It's such a pointless thing because no one is ever going to know about it. Like they can't spot, oh, he saved a frame there because it's not visible. Neither for RTA or attach. Even if you go like frame advanced the entire run, you can't spot it. But I know it's there, and that's important for me.
That's something I find difficult about. It's like, yeah, you put in so much effort to save that 1 frame that, like, no one's ever going to know about it. But I think,
yeah,
I'm the same. If I knew there was a frame to save, then I couldn't live with myself if I submitted it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to improve. As I said, a run. As all runs can be improved, but when you know it's suboptimal from the start, or close to the end, it's painful.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, definitely. So you said Link to the Past has like enemies spawning all in the same spot. Do they just like move around differently after that with the RNG?
Yeah. So I was keep watching the timers for the enemies. Like, oh, this enemy got a timer of 60 frames, so it's going to walk in this direction for 60 frames. So I kept checking those values to see if it's if I want it high or low, like, or no, like how many different variations can this enemy move, and then I have to try all the possibilities to find out which one is the best. It can be quite struggling, especially when there are many enemies you have to move in a certain way.
Yeah,
so it's hard.
It's probably a good thing that they're roughly consistent with their starting. Like, I remember tazzing a Zelda clone a couple of years ago on the Sega, and it was just like the enemies could literally just start in any random position in the room, which made it really, really difficult to do because you could always do a little bit better.
Yeah, that's the problem when I was testing Oracle Seasons with Swallows Link. So in that game, the enemies are random where they spawn, most of them.
Oh, okay.
And if you have to kill them all, you have to know, like, oh, how many possibilities can we get, and how much time is that going to cost to manipulate.
So you do need to kill them a bit, like do a bit of grinding on them?
Well, it depends. Like, it's hard to manipulate enemies in that game. Because you can't just delay frames, you can't change the inputs. You have to make certain actions to make it. So most of the time you have to lose frames in order to possibly save frames. So what I usually end up doing is I try every possible R&D combination I get, test the room and compare them, and then see can I go back like a couple of screens in the game to see if I can manipulate without losing time, or manipulate by losing less time than before. So you just keep trying until you find the best possible thing you can come up with. But you know that it's still painful when you have to lose frame to manipulate something when maybe there was a solution you didn't think of that would have prevented it.
So I guess like just doing different button presses and coming in on the same frame, that doesn't change the RNG enough? Or doesn't change
No. You need to do like slash your sword, for example, changes it, and when certain enemies move, that changes it, and so on. But it's some rules you can like stay still for an hour and nothing happens R&D wise.
Wow, that's so weird. Usually it's based on like the timing at least.
Yeah, and that's a good thing I like about Donkey Kong Country when testing it, because there is practically no R&D at all for testing it. All enemies all spawn the same way, move the same way. The only thing is the game lag is about like 50% when you kill an enemy. The game will lag, and that's nothing you can manipulate. It's all on the timer. So you either have to save a frame or delay a frame to avoid the lag. And that's pretty nice, relaxing way in a way to not have to care about randomness.
Do you know why it lags differently based on when you kill the enemy?
I used to never like look into the game's code to see like why things happen that often. But I guess like too many things on certain frames doesn't like the game doesn't like that, I suppose. I don't really know. But I keep telling RTA runners to never kill any enemies if you don't have to kill them for like speed or whatever. There's some outer scrollers where you can kill enemies for fun, but each enemy will always lose 2 frames where the game is paused normally, and then a 3rd frame where the game may lag as well. And that's like 2 to 3 frames free that they can easily avoid losing. But people still to this day keep killing enemies in Outer Scrolls, and it pains me so much.
They gotta save the frames.
Yeah, I gotta save the frames. Yeah. It's like in Tellus Adventure for the NES. At the start, you're facing right. I know you're facing left, rather, but you want to go to the right after you exit the first screen. But going left saves 1 frame compared to going right. And it's such a simple frame to save. Like, some people may say, oh, it's only a frame, who cares? Like, but it's when you can save a frame with, like, there's no, it's not difficult at all. There's no mistakes that can be made. You just hold a button left or hold right. There's no reason not to go for it.
Mm.
But still, I see a lot of runners go to the right as well, so whatever.
Yeah, I thought that game would be pretty, like, super optimized, being a Zelda game back on the NES.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen many runs these days, but so maybe most people are going to the left now. I'm not sure, but even like a few years back, people don't walk to the right all the time.
Yeah, it's probably just a lack of knowledge, though. I doubt they would have intentionally done it. Yeah,
I suppose. But like, some people have their way of playing through a level, even though they know that this is 2 frames slower, but this is how I always play the level. So they're too used to it. They can't get out of the habit.
Yeah.
And it's also understandable, I suppose, as most of what speedrunning is muscle memory. So it can be hard to change that, to try something different.
Yeah, that's why I found it good when I was doing a bit of RTA. Like, I would find it good if I took a break for a couple of months and then came back, because I'd develop all different strats when I came back.
Yeah.
That were probably better. All right. Indeed. So, unless you had more to talk about with, I guess, the longer Tazes, we can probably move on to talking about some any percent stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Move on.
So I've seen in your submissions that you got pretty much like 3 game end Tazes, essentially. You got Donkey Kong Country, Mario Brothers 3, and Zelda Link to the Past. I know Zelda Link to the Past has been improved since, but I guess...
Yeah, it's kind of different glitch, though, compared to the one that has been done before.
Yeah.
As, the new one is a game end glitch with arbitrary code execution. Remind us to just walk out the bounds until you reach the room with triggers the ending. I kind of think that the two are supposed... They were supposed to be 2 different categories, in my opinion. But, like, I don't care. But yeah, quite different. So yeah, the end credit clips that I didn't do, but Yusahara and... oh wow, he's going to hate me for this. I can't remember his name. You kidding me? Oh, whatever. But there are a lot of different ways to crash a Link to the Past when you go into the rooms and walk the room that you're not supposed to go to. So they just crash the game and trigger the game credits. It's a fairly simple game and glitch, I suppose.
I'll just find his actual name that did the new one.
Yeah, bring it up.
Yeah. FMP, Total, and Yusahara.
Oh, FMP, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my memory's rusty.
So I was very, like, when I watched through this, like, what are they actually doing? What is triggering the ace there?
Oh, I haven't run full in memory right now, but they walk to the right and then to the door, I think. And the houses are on a different map than... Like, most of the caves and such are on the same map. And the houses map often crash the game for some reason. I don't know the method they used to crash the game and the kind of code they had to use for it afterwards, as I wasn't really involved in that. But it's a basic crash the game and make a code.
So they're essentially walking out of bounds using the door, and that causes a crash?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's if my memory serves me right. But I haven't watched it run in a while, so...
I mean, I'm sure we're massively oversimplifying it, but if that's essentially what happens, then yeah.
Like, I never learned the programming side of tasking, like the code, arbitrary code execution. I never learned like how that works exactly, so it's not my department to explain, I suppose.
Yeah, arbitrary code execution sort of scares me off a bit. Like, I have delved into a little bit of assembly, but not enough.
Super Brothers 3, for example, which is another Ace task. I didn't come up with how to do it. That was Lord Tom and a few others. And he just told me, like, oh, we need these sprites because the Koopa shells have to be in specific positions for it to work. And he just told me we need these values, and I tested and optimized it. So I didn't know like how that works in terms of the code, what actually happens. But like for me, it didn't matter. I had what I needed to. I had the knowledge I needed to make the test.
I mean, it makes sense once it's explained, but actually going into the code and figuring out how to do it—that's the hard bit.
But there are so many games these days that have these game and glitches.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's like it's a fun concept. I like that it's possible to do in all these games. But when like all games have it eventually, it's going to be a bit tiring to see. Like Ocarina of Time was nearly found an ace newly, recently, rather. And that was a big thing as well. Like, oh wow, we can do this now. But if you just use it to go to the credits instantly, it takes away the possibilities and the entertainment factor of it, because it's already been done in so many games. Like try to do something new instead, which they have. A couple of videos like doing the fun stuff. But like most of those tasks these days, I kind of ignore. I've seen it already. I know what's going to happen.
Interesting. I mean, I'm pretty excited about the Ocarina of Time stuff, but
oh yeah,
like
I am as well. But
what they have now is pretty good anyway. I think what's good is something like Majora's Mask, where it's not completely broken, but they can just warp maybe after half an hour of gameplay.
I kind of like the broken part as well. It's fun in its own way. It's getting a bit repetitive, I think.
I mean, that recently happened with us. I saw you saw with that Zelda game. Yeah, like the Taz I thought was really good because you had 3 minutes of really crazy broken gameplay before the game end glitch, and now you have like 32 frames of gameplay before the game end glitch.
I saw that.
Like, when you did it at AGDQ, I saw you did you did the Ace in Link to the Past, and it had, I guess you played the SM64 Taz.
Well, it wasn't the Ace. Oh, you mean that one? Yeah, okay. Now I'm thinking. Yeah. So the Ace part itself, I had nothing to do with. They wanted me to test the before part, I suppose. So I did everything up to when the game crashes and when the Ace stuff happens. And then it was all Master June, I think, who did the code for the effect. So I just went up to crash the game. That was my plan, and then I didn't do anything else.
Nice. Was that before the new one came out, the Game End Glitch in 54?
Yeah, it was before. Well, it was still known to be possible, I suppose, to crash the game like that, but that method was they wanted to use in the Games That Quick one. I think that was one of the only methods to do it in at the time. And I believe Yusahara was the one that found the new way of doing it. But I'm not sure about that, actually.
Okay. But at that point, you probably would have known that you could save time on the Taz using something like Ace.
Yeah. Very much. But still, I think it is a different kind of glitch than I was doing in my Taz. But they're both good.
Well, it's interesting that, you wanted a separate category. I guess it doesn't always go the way you want like that, but I'm like that.
I don't care if my runs are obsolete, but they're so different kind of glitches, in my opinion. But I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, I guess just looking at them, because the times are so similar, like within a minute of each other, then that's probably why, but yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think that my Taz is more interesting in a way. It does more like cool tricks and weird things instead of just entering a room and have the game play.
And I think the big thing for me with yours is that it actually sees the credits properly as well.
Oh yeah, that can be a fun factor as well, though, with a different kind of credits than you're used to.
Yeah, I mean, the shop music with the credits going is pretty funny. But...
yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the good thing about tasks and speedruns, I suppose, is the surprising factor. When something happens that you're not prepared for. And that can be an ace task, or it can be what my task was, or whatever. But my task already had the normal credits, I said. So when you see the ace task and you get something different, even though it looks awful in a way, it's still different and can be enjoyable in its own way because of it.
And probably your task, something that would be good for having that is that I take it it's still pretty similar to the RTA route as well.
Yeah, well, the RTA route is using a different kind of trick. They clip into the wall to go to the left from where you start, and they go inside a cave in Kakariko Village and clip out the bounce. And then they walk to the same room as I did, pretty much. And if you compare the two tasks, I did 2 runs, the RTA one and my run. The RTA run may seem faster, because the time is 1 minute and 31 seconds. But they time differently. So my task is a lot faster, even though it may not appear so.
How are they timed differently?
RTA is timed for when you get out of bed at the beginning. So they skip the part at the beginning. Oh, that's not out of bed anymore. I think it's time the screen. But they don't count the text after the Triforce. That's the main reason. So all the text after the Triforce has to be counted in the task, but they skip it to RTA.
Well, I like it in that you're actually going into you're actually traveling to the room in the Out of Bounds dungeon. Yeah. I like that a lot. Yeah.
And there's some different, my favorite part is the jump toward the castle.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to see.
And it
lights up so perfect.
How is it that he can jump that far? I thought it would just be like a set distance or something.
Yeah, the thing is, you're kind of jumping in an arc up to the right, and if you jump down a cliff, Link will fall as soon as he lands on a normal tile that he can stand on. And for that one, he's kind of jumping up towards the upper left side of the castle through the tree, pretty much, but you can't really see it. And the first place he can land on is the tile on the top of the wall. So it just happens to be perfectly lined up for that to happen, pretty much.
Nice. Yeah.
But that clip isn't RTA viable by any means. I think it requires you to use left and right inputs.
No, it's a cool task, and I guess just to clarify for people who aren't as familiar with Link to the Past, you're because all the dungeons are connected, you can just walk straight from where you go down to save Zelda right to where you would fight Ganon.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, that's certainly one gaming glitch. Could you talk a bit about? I guess you did Mario Brothers 3 gaming glitch, didn't you?
Yeah. The first method that was found, at least.
Yeah.
So for many years back, when I was playing my Super Mario All Stars on my SNES at home, I found a glitch where you can go down pipes on the side of it.
In All Stars?
And yeah.
Really?
That glitch works in All Stars as well.
Is it like a port? Does it use the same code, or is that just a coincidence?
Well, most of the code, the gameplay mechanics, are the same in both games. There's some differences, of course, but most glitches that work in the NES version will work on SNES as well.
Wow, I thought they really redid the code, because when I played SMB1, all the bouncing mechanics on the when you hit a block from the bottom really annoyed me. Yeah.
Yeah, SMB3 is mostly the same.
Okay.
But at least, when I was testing Super Mario 3, my first test project for that game, I told everyone about this glitch, oh, maybe this can be useful anywhere. But they don't nah, this can't be done. It sucks. Because the problem is that you can only go down pipes on the side, on the right side of the pipe. And normally for more games, you go from the left to the right. So it's quite rare that you go to the right side of the pipe to go faster. There's one place in World 5, World 5 Tower, that is actually not a lot. It's a little bit faster to use this glitch to go down the pipe, but no one cared about it, so it got lost.
Oh.
But anyway, a lot of people are experimenting with it on different levels. Go down the pipes, and I think Mug was one of the first to, I think it was, to post a video for 7.1 where you went down the side of the pipe down into this area below the level, which you can't normally go to. Like glitchy blocks and stuff. And I can't remember what kind of effect he got from it. I think the game just crashed or something happened. I don't know. But like people saw, oh, interesting, and then nothing else happened because we didn't understand why they happened. The things that happened. So like a year later or something, another guy, Glitchman, was it? Was it Glitchman? I think so. Posted another video for the level where he did the same glitch, but he got warped to the end of the world instead and started World 8.
Oh.
And then people started thinking like, oh, how does this happen? So they looked at the code and eventually figured out like why it happens. And then of course people tried to get to the end. That's the first thing people do all the time. And it was quickly found by setting up the enemies. And then we have the tasks, of course. So I teamed up with Lord Tom. We had done a few tasks before, so they wanted to do this one as well. And he, as I said, he did the thinking, like what we had to do, the values we needed, and I did most of the tasking. Like we helped back and forth, of course.
So this was a similar thing where he's like, I get the Cooper shell here, and then you just optimize that.
Yeah, pretty much. Like we wanted these values for these Cooper shells. What's each addresses and try to line it up. And we did.
That's really cool. I didn't know that you found the main glitch that allowed that, the pipe thing.
Yeah, it's an old glitch technically, like in level 3.9 in Super Mario All Stars version, I think it was. I know it's on NES as well. They fixed it there. Yeah, on the Famicom version of Famicom this system. At the end of level 3.9, there are a lot of like white blocks covering the pipe. And if you drop below the pipe on the right side, you can pretty much jump straight up, clip into the block, and get a glitch. And that was known to be the only way of doing the glitch, until my method was turned up. But when I kept talking like many years about this glitch, but no one cared. Like, it still makes me mad to this day that people ignore it so much. It's a silly thing, but
they care now.
They can now, indeed.
Yeah. And
Adelicat, the owner of Test Videos, he was one of the like naysayers who like turned me down all the time. And he or someone else added on the on Test Videos a lot of these resources pages with a lot of information about different games. And at the bottom they have a like to-do list, and it says Tompa's pipe glitch at the end. And it's done that for like many years with no information to it.
They actually got it on there now.
Yeah, they have it there on the bottom. Like, there's still no information about the glitch, but it says Tompa's pipe glitch at the end. So you can go look it up and have fun.
To do Tompa's pipe glitch. Oh, that's nice.
Too bad.
So what's actually like, how do you actually go down the right side of the pipe? Is it just a position thing?
On like a common glitch in the Super Mario Bros. 1 is the wall jump. And the wall jump works because like all the walls are lined up with 16 times 16 time blocks, pixel blocks. And if you land between two blocks, you can briefly clip into it and land on it before the game pushes you out again for the wall ejection. And for that one frame, you can jump. So that's why the wall jump works.
Yeah.
And the pipe glitch kind of works the same way. As the game thinks you're standing on the pipe and you land on the side of it.
Oh.
It doesn't work for the entire pipe. You have to be close at the top because that's where the pipe trigger is. So that's pretty much how it works. The game thinks you're standing on the pipe and you land on the side.
So can you go
I don't
down
know why it doesn't work on the left side.
Yeah. Can you go down a pipe if, like, you're standing on the very edge, but you're standing on the top of it?
You have to fall down from the pipe. But a pretty easy way to do it is to stand on the top right, and then you like wiggle back and forth to like to walk out on the right side, and then clip back to the left, and then you may land on the right pixel. So that's, I think, at least how I first found it by accident.
It's weird. I thought that would have prevented you from going down if you were that far to the edge of the pipe. I thought you had to be like in the center.
And I still don't know why this doesn't work on the left side of the pipe. I guess it's like the pixel spread for like how wide the trigger is like wider on the right side than the left. Maybe I'm not sure. I never looked into it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so that's cool. And I guess that Taz has been now obsoleted by the 0. How long is it? 0.0.
Oh yeah.
Less than 1 second.
Yeah, indeed.
0.07. No, 0.78 seconds. Master Jun and AIS 5T3.
Indeed, they destroyed it as expected.
That's subframe inputs, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
They just mash a bunch at the start and get through, which is interesting.
Even shortly after we finished the old tasks of doing it, which we did in 2 minutes and 54 seconds, we found small improvements to it, but no one else cared to improve it because we didn't like the run that much. Neither was too big of a fan of the end game glitch category.
Interesting. So, I thought you would like that 254 because it's got a bit of real gameplay.
Yeah, of course I do, but I like the Warplash task more, for example, 100% task.
Yeah,
a lot more than the glitch one. It's still a funny concept.
How low do you reckon the 254 could get, like with that route, if you incorporated the improvements?
We started an improvement for it a while back. A couple of different tasks that tried it in the past. I can't remember how. I don't think any run finished. But how far ahead were we? 10, 15 frames at one point, I think.
Oh wow,
something like that. Maybe more, but it was never finished because one reason was because of the other game end glitches that were found. For example, and no one cares too much about this run anyway.
Is that different strats, or is it just optimization?
That was mostly optimization.
Yeah.
You could try to go for different strats with the shells, where to put them. There are many different combinations you can do. And we tried the one that works best for us when we first did the test, but there may be better versions, most likely. But like I said, I don't know the code part. I can't tell random things because I don't know what I'm doing. So I need the experts to help me out. But yeah, I'm done with that task anyway. I won't bother with it. People can have fun improving it if they want to.
Yeah, well, I think it would be good to have a task of that route that was improved, but it's a lot of work. That's something that I feel like probably should be in a different category, though. If you thought Link to the Past should have been, then I feel like that pipe glitch versus the subframe input should be.
Yeah, but both are still end-game glitches with different code manipulation.
Yeah.
And it's hard to where to draw the line between what kind of programming you're doing to the game.
Yeah. That is understandable. But it is a shame to not have that 254 published. But yeah. That's so interesting.
The way to do the same thing. In the first level of the game, you can set up enemies that will crash the game, and you can execute the game and credits as well.
Really?
Yeah. Which is pretty much the same thing you can do in 7.1, but in the first level instead.
Was that found after the really, really fast test?
No, it was found way before.
Huh.
It's a pretty old one. But I don't think it was ever made public anywhere.
Really?
I'm not sure.
So why wasn't there a publication with it?
I'm sure. I can't remember the talk about it. I didn't do anything. I had nothing to do with the run. But if you others had. But you can just set up a bunch of enemies in the first level, go back and forth, causing a bunch of lag, and eventually crashing the game.
Is that RTA viable at all?
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe.
Well,
I have no idea.
First you tell me the 254 has frames to save, then you tell me there's a crazy new route with enemy crash.
But it's still a really old route, 1.5, 2 years at least, if not more.
That's amazing. I can't believe that.
But no one cares about it.
Yeah, well, if you find a video or some kind of resource on that, I'd love to put it in the description or something, but yeah.
Maybe it was Master June and the Mac or stuff, yeah, no idea.
Wow, I can't believe that. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, all right, so the last one you've got in the any percents is your Donkey Kong Country. So it's sort of a game end glitch, but it's more like I guess you're warping to the final boss and then beating it. So what's going on?
Yeah, that one has some interesting history to it, I suppose. On the Great, who did the previous task, he's a good friend of mine. We were talking back then, as he was one of the first like speedrunners I interacted with a lot. As I love this Donkey Kong Country task, and I saw that he was Swedish as well. So I contacted him, and we like kept talking on MSN or Skype or whatever for many years to come. And we did a lot of bet play for Donkey Kong Country and other games like Super Smash TV or whatever, while talking on Skype. And there was an old glitch that I'm not sure if On the Great found it or not. Maybe it did. It's called the Invisible Barrel glitch, where if you throw a steel keg at the wall and pick it up again, you can walk into the midway barrel, and the barrel will disappear, and you're going to hold nothing. But you're actually holding the first sprite you spawn in memory, so you can hold an enemy that when you drop the either drop or throw the barrel, you can change the properties of the enemy to make it do things it's normally not supposed to do, like fly in the air or whatever.
So it's basically the new OOT glitch then.
No, not really. Like you can't edit the value.
All right.
So you can only use the values that are in the level for the enemies you spawn.
Okay.
So if you spawn the enemy with the value 3, that's what you have. You can change it. You can change it to number 4 or whatever. But one day, me and Aaron were like fooling around with the glitch in the level Elevator Antics 5-3. And each time when you hold certain sprites, the game is going to crash because the game doesn't know what to do with it. And for that level, the game kept crashing like all the time when we were playing. So we did a challenge to see how far we can reach in the level before the game crashed. So we had a little competition. And I eventually won. I got to the end of the game, at the end of the level, while still holding the invisible barrel glitch. And then I dropped down below the ending. There's a hidden bonus level. I think I threw the barrel and then entered it or something. Or just entered it, I'm sure. I got to the level, the bonus normally. But then the game warped me to a different level. And both me and Aaron were quite confused because we had never seen anything like this before. And he did most of the math and figured out what happens in the game. So he realized that this has something to do with the invisible barrel glitch, and when you're holding a bonus. So he did the math to check all the values you can have, all the values you can get from this, how it works and everything. And then we found a warp that was from the first world to the fourth world, skipping half the game. And that eventually saved 8 minutes compared to his old task. And I felt like, oh, this is cool. This is awesome. And then one day, it was in February, quite sure it was, because I had a no gaming month pretty much that I set up for myself. So he called me one day and said, oh, I found something, like a new method of doing this. And he said, like, if we can do this, we can warp to the last world in the game instead.
Oh.
I was quite hyped instantly, like, oh, I can't test anything yet, like, you have to do it on your own.
Well, so you stuck to your guns with no gaming month.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, good on you.
And then after the month, I was tasking the game, like, March the 1st until the 2nd, and not the 2nd, March the 31st. And then I submitted run on April 1st. Which saved another 8 minutes. So what he found was there's a way you can split your characters and control both of the characters at the same time. As the wrong warp glitch depends on which character you're holding the barrel with. If you have Donkey Kong, it's one value. If you have Diddy Kong, it's another one. But he found that if you have both Kongs at the same time, you get a completely different value. But there's a problem with that because in order to set up the glitch, you need a DK barrel that's inside the bonus level. Because when the DK barrel destroys, you have one frame when both characters are counted as active in the game. Even though you can control both at the same time, it's only one character that matters, pretty much. The one that the camera will follow and one that can be killed and so on. But for one frame, the game counts both for everything. So we had to find a level with a bonus that has a DK barrel, where you can end the bonus for one frame, one frame only. And there's only one bonus in the game that allows you to do that. And that's in Free 5 Orangutan Gang. But the problem is that you can't reach that bonus holding the invisible barrel glitch. Because there's a big gap you have to cross, to jump over. And you can't do that with the barrel. So you feel like, oh crap, this is it, you can't get there. But then I realized that, hey, you can actually ride an animal with the invisible barrel glitch. And it just happens that there's an espresso on the level, the ostrich. So what you do is you set up the glitch on the espresso, you fly towards the bonus, open the bonus, destroy the DK barrel, exit the level, it both comes at the same time, and you warp to the Lost World. And it just happens that the level 3-5, you can warp to, after beating the first level in the game, there's not a glitch you can warp to the level. So it's also convenient to set up for the warp to work. As there's only one bonus in the game where the glitch works, that level has to have an invisible barrel somewhere that you can access to, which all levels don't. And even if you needed espresso, but the glitch works for espresso as well. So it all lines up so nicely.
And you can warp to the level from the start.
Yeah, precisely. All that's like it can't be any better.
That is so lucky.
And since the first run I did for that one, it was like 8 minutes and 13 seconds. I've improved it 3 or 4 times, I'm not sure. And I got to improve it again for this year as well.
Oh, really? You're doing it again this year? That's good.
Yeah.
How much time are you looking
to save? That's going to be my... a few seconds, I think.
Oh, good.
There's some things I messed up, and there's some new strategies that I didn't think of because I'm stupid. So that one's going to be up on April 1st.
Why do you do it on April 1st?
Yeah, that's because I had my month off in February. I started tasking it in March and thought hey, this is going to be fun to submit an 8 minutes faster task on April 1st. Because people are going to think that, this is a big joke task. Because they're you can't beat it this fast. And I put up a joke submission text as well. It said oh hey, did you know that badger means mellis in Latin?
Nice.
And stuff like that. Because the badger better. You can say mellis. So submission text had nothing to do with the game at all. So people thought this is the joke. But it wasn't. It was me surprising them.
Wow.
And since then I've submitted all my DKC tasks on April 1st. Because why not?
All of you.
And I'm going to do the same this year. So you need to keep the traditions.
That's awesome. I love that. So I didn't realize you actually played a role in finding the DKC glitch as well. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, I've been researching that game for the past 14 years, I think. So I've done a lot.
So I take it you prefer the any percent to this game more than the other two we discussed?
The game analysis or the 101%?
No, just the any percent route. Because I know you weren't as keen on the any percent categories for the other ones.
Yeah, for this game it's more satisfying. One reason, I guess, is because of the history behind it and how much effort I put into the game itself.
Yeah.
And because it's not just trash the game and warp the credits, it's something more. And it has so many complex glitches that works out perfectly.
Yeah, I like how you still have to fight K-Roll.
Yeah. And but I do think the 101% category is better. I like it more. But it's so taxing to do a good test of it. I still think it's my best test I've ever done. I can't beat it, of course, but it's going to take me a couple of years as well, and I have no plans of doing that. So that one's going to stay.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you'd like the shorter ones a bit more because you can definitely optimize them, save more time. But
yeah.
So it's surprising that you both like saving individual frames and you like long categories.
It depends on the category. And one reason is that the RTA community does not like 100%. Because mostly just enter a bonus, fail a bonus, enter bonus, fail a bonus. It gets repetitive in a way. But I've always liked the category, so I'm going to keep on doing it.
And the task is the same, isn't it? You have to fail the bonuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And many of them like looks the same all the time because you can't fail it faster. So just enter the bonus, roll down the hole, and it's done. And you keep doing that for like 10 more bonuses.
Yeah, it would be good if they made you complete the bonuses, but
yeah, they do DKC 2 and 3, so yeah, it's the fastest, of course. Gotta save the frames.
Okay. Are there any other things you want to cover?
For DKC?
In general, but yeah.
In general. Yeah, well, okay. On the Great, he ended up moving in with me a couple of years back. 2 years back.
Sorry, who's that?
On the Great, he was the testing DKC with me.
Oh, nice.
And who found the glitch?
Oh, the one that you played NetPlay with?
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So do you find yourselves like working on projects still?
No, like I tried to get him into testing again, but like he has no for it. He's done a lot for like Yoshi Island in terms of like programming and finding new things and so on. But he's giving up on DKC, I think.
That's a shame.
Yeah, that's life.
Yeah.
But I plan for my my new DKC test. I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to try to like stream everything and have a timer on to see like how long this is going to take me.
Ooh.
And then have like split times for each level.
That's interesting.
I haven't planned out exactly how I want to do it, but the plan is to start testing on it next week or so to see how it goes.
That'll be awesome. I look forward to catching that.
Yeah.
So that's the 80% you're trying to optimize from next week?
Yeah, that's the best one.
Nice.
Indeed.
Good.
And this currently is standing at 7 minutes and 50 seconds. And the plan is to break it out to 7:40 if I can. Somehow might make that, but I know I can't. But I want to.
You never know. Just save
you never know. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Do you have any other projects on the horizon?
I'm working on the Diminished Cap as well.
Cool.
I've done 2 runs already for it. And I said that I won't be testing this game again until the flippers are skipped. And then, the flippers make it swim.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually this was found, and I thought like, oh wow, RTA is a part in the test. Like I can't have this. I need to redo it again. But the problem is the first one took me 1 year. The second one took me 2 years, and the third one has been on hold for a while because it's so taxing to work on the randomness all the time. But getting some progress at it at least. Apart from those 2 tests, like. I'm trying to know like what I want to do with in the future in terms of like speedrunning and testing. And my current plan is to take a break entirely from everything, to finish like these 2 tasks and then disappear completely. But I haven't made up my mind yet.
Interesting. So would you want to come back eventually, or is that sort of you'd finish the 2 and then leave? I
have no idea. Like I still love doing it, but I've been in the speedrun community for the past 15 years. Starting like next week, I think. And I think that like I've done my share. Like I've done enough of this. I need to do something else in my life to have just do something different. I spend too much time on like watching Twitch speedruns and such. So I want to change my ways of living. But I'm not like sure what I want to do. But we'll see. It's still going to take a while to finish these 2 tasks. So it's going to take a while, but eventually.
Well, I'm glad I caught you while you're still active then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that view, and I find myself watching a lot of Twitch too, but I don't know, I like it a lot, so.
And when people started speedrunning on the Twitch show, Ustream as a Justin TV, my goal was kind of to inform people about like what's going on. I was watching a lot of Ocarina of Time, and I became that helpful mod that knew everything about the game pretty much, because I kept answering people's questions all the time and tried to be helpful, spreading information. And at first, like people made fun of me. Some people are even mad that like this is the internet. You're not supposed to be nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And like no one else was doing it. Like people kept asking things, and no one told them where to look for information, how things work. So I wanted to be a better example, I suppose. And back then, like the information wasn't known. Like there was no place to gather the information properly, anyway. So I tried my best. But these days, like, there's so so much information everywhere, like tutorials and wiki pages and so on. And there's so many more people that can be helpful in the same way. So like, I don't need to do that anymore. I'm done. I've done my part, so others can take over.
Fair enough. Well, you certainly contributed a lot.
I'm old and obsolete.
Oh, yeah. I think that's still something we can do better is spreading information better in speedrunning communities. But there are some communities that are really good, like Zelda speedruns. Has got a really good website and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there's nothing else you want to cover, I'll probably let you go. Thanks again for your time today, Tompa.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I really appreciate it. And you blew my mind with a lot of stuff I could not believe, especially with SMB3.
With my so-called useless pipe glitch.
Well, yeah, and like with the any percent, how you said there was in level 1, and that there were even frames to save on the old Taz, so that was really good to get an insight there. And look forward to seeing you Taz Donkey Kong Country as well.
Yeah, stay tuned on my stream next week, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be awful. And you're probably going to sleep anyway because it's a bad time for your time zone. So
we'll see.
We'll see. Okay,
More like just woke up. Yeah.
You're welcome to join anyway. But it's going to be terrible. I'm so bad at streaming. Like I can't set up the stream properly with all the settings, so it's going to look and sound awful. But it's going to be fun, I hope.
We'll see. Yeah, I really like the idea of seeing how long it takes because I often wondered that myself. I know in days, but not in time.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
But for some projects like Donkey Kong Country 101%, I don't think I want to know how much time I spent on it. Because I spent so many hours, like, wow.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, like, if you're testing a game, I don't know, if it's a really, really short game, you're looking at maybe like 40, 50, 60 hours. But if it's a bit more involved, hundreds and hundreds. For me, it's like, do I want to put 40 hours into a Taz, or do I want to, play a new game for the first time? And I'm like, Taz every time.
Mm-hmm. I think my Link to the Past would run the glitch one. I've done that, did that like 2 days, I think, 1 day, 2 days.
Wow.
Because like I learned the game, like I knew how to optimize things, and I just did it.
Yeah, once you got all your values that you're watching, no resistance with learning strats. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I pulled off a few like 2-day tests as well, but they're often very, very short when that happens.
Like for Zool.
Zool was more like a 2-hour test, the newest one, but
yeah.
Or actually, no, I can retest it for you in about 20 seconds by actually just playing an RTA.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. I thought about submitting that Taz as like submitting it as my RTA button file that I took, but we'll see. 0 re-records.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for your time today, Tompa. I really do appreciate it.
Anytime. Yeah. Glad to be here.
It's great talking to you. Have a good one.
Yeah. Same. Bye.
Bye.